my goal is to give everybody some practical steps to stop spinning your wheels and make, can you kind of feel how this is starting to tighten up and getting your hands going? Now we're gonna go for the hand-to-hand sync. And again, this is the uber important part because we've got our fretting hand going, we've got our picking hand working a lot, and now we're going to work on just making every time that our pick does something, our fretting hand reacts and hits at the exact same time, or vice versa. As soon as our hand presses down, our pick hits. And I call this is kind of like a stacked training here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through these so you guys can kind of get a feel for it. This is something that you probably want to take and memorize away from this. But if we think about just technique wise in general, how fast we can play is determined by how fast we can pick a single note on a single string. So we don't have any fretting hand motion and we don't have any string changes. So in this first one, we're basically doing a controlled tremolo with bursts. And I'm going to pull up a metronome here, and I'll just give you a quick example. I'm just using metronomes off YouTube if anybody's interested. And so exercise number 1 here, tremolo bursts, I'm doing digga chicka da. Then I'm relaxing, so on and so forth. So I'm playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm making sure, turn that off, making sure that this, where I hit this last da note, that is very short and staccato so that I know it's in time with the click. Da, 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 digga chicka da. So do you guys want me to keep that metronome going while you try this? Yeah? Okay. Let's give you guys 30 seconds or so to kind of go through there. So digga chicka da, dum, dum, digga chicka da, ba, ba, digga chicka da. All right. Now, if I were doing this again, depending on how much time I had, I might just stick at 90 BPM and just kind of allow my hands to sync together with this tremolo plus the bursts. If I have more time, like if I have an hour and I'm doing 15 minutes in each practice section, if I have 15 minutes to do this, I'm going to try to ratchet up to whatever my high tempo is, just so that I know, okay, I can do tremolo bursts at 160 BPM, whatever it happens to be, because if I can move that headroom higher, then when I play stuff that is below 160 BPM, I'm way ahead of the game. My hands are sunk up way fast that way. So once we have our tremolo and our bursts happening, we're going to do a single string ascending 16th note with a burst. So this is kind of a tricky pattern, but it's basically I'm playing from the 5th fret to the 7th fret to the 8th fret on the B string, and then I'm going 5, 8 on the B string. So I get digga. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to slow the metronome down a little bit just so everybody can get a feel. And in a perfect world, we would have memorized these. We wouldn't have to think about them too much. But I'm thinking digga chicka da. There you go. I see you guys that have been working on this. All right. All right. For those of you that this is something new, is this making sense so far? Yeah. And this was 70 BPM. Was this easy? Was it right where it needed to be, or was it too hard? It was good? Okay. Again, you can work through these as you go through. The next one is just going to be a descending 16th note with the burst, and it's basically the reverse of this. So on the B string, we're playing 8, 7, 5, 8, 5. And for anybody, if you're playing through and it feels like, oh man, this is a little bit too fast, a trick that has always helped me is instead of waiting a beat and jumping right into it, I will actually give it maybe 3 or 4 beats, because in essence, you're giving your nervous system time to recoup and get ready for the next one. So I'm gonna let this play at 70 BPM, and if this felt fast to me, I would basically, and I would let it kind of go as I relax. Ooh, and I'm kind of making sure I'm breathing. Yeah, right on. Good job, everybody. Okay, and in the interest of time, excuse me, next thing we want to do is basically, turn on the right thing. We want to start making one string change. So the next thing we're playing here is basically an ascending pattern, and then we're going to go to the 5th fret of the high E string and then come back to the 8th fret of the B. And we're trying to get a nice burst in there. Give you guys a tempo. Digga chicka da. Digga chicka da. All right. Very cool. All right. And then last but not least, we're just basically going to reverse our single note string change. And we're going to start on the high E string at the 8th fret and kind of jump to the 8th fret of the B string and then back to the high E. And it ends up being true alternate picking as you're doing that. So I'm going to let this metronome play for maybe 20 seconds here. There we go. All right. Very cool. Let me go ahead and stop that. So that literally is that 3-phase warm-up. We're thinking fretting hand independence, working our picking hand really, really hard, and then putting our hands together with these short bursts of notes. Anybody feeling like they're getting warmed up?